I was able to scalp 20 points off of my favorite key level, my favorite VWAP. If you've seen this channel, you're in for a treat because we had clean trend off of what I preach about every single day, all while live at our Tampa 2-day futures boot camp with a ton of great traders. Can't wait for you guys to see the content from that one. Let's get to the charts here and see why I wouldn't want the shorts. First of all, you can see ES here opening slightly bearish, clearly lower highs and lower lows. Buyers couldn't get us above that New York. But why am I not chasing this first break outside open range low? Lows often don't sustain, first of all. Second of all, I'm not bearish on the day, and you'll see why in just a minute. But I think the second key factor would be the pullback to New York view up. If you've seen Futures 2.0 on ASFX TV, I go through my full view up strategy. This would probably be the place to sell it if you could see sellers defend this level and make an attempt back lower, saying there's our lower high. Let's continue this trend to the downside. But there is no trend and there is no bounce, first of all, right? This one candle isn't enough of a hold. I want to see it actually hold that view up and probably break outside this open range low a second time, especially when I made other videos about another golden rule. If we're in this range, I don't want it. Too choppy, too indecisive. But let's get into the 15-minute here and see why I don't want the shorts. This is on Friday, NFP Friday, so it is a tougher day to trade out anyways. This is pre-market. We have the NFP at 8:30, 8:45, clearly bullish. We're above this overnight VWAP, and this bearish move to start the open, it pins the daily view up. All that bearish price action where we look like we want to maybe go short, it's just retesting a key view up underneath us in a bullish trend. You can see higher highs and higher lows from yesterday that I'm saying here, sellers are in. I want to go short. That's not bearish at all. I should be looking for the next leg of trend to continue us back higher, which is why we wait for the longs to come back in. So we don't take this short because we're not actually bearish on the day or on the higher time frame. But we're not going to just long this mid-range with falling structure still in the 1 minute. So we just let that go by. But that does pop for a new high a day. But there's our new information, right? I made plenty of videos about it recently about if we're in this range, I really need to see new information come in. So all of this within these black lines, the first 15 minutes high and low, the opening range, if we're inside it, whether it's long or short, I don't care. I don't want to be trying to decide who's going to win the battle and which side we eventually pop out of. I can create ideas and theses, but I don't want to be trading within it if I don't have to be, especially the later on the morning goes. But we let it break for a new high a day outside the open range high, giving me new information in line with that 15-minute trend of saying, okay, well, there's the longs that I wanted. It's confirming that we can move higher. So now my job is just to wait for a pullback and sellers or buyers step back in and continue that bullish trend. I mean, you can take that bullish candle there. There's another break of high debut up there. I mean, there's plenty of them, right? All over here. But let's just say you take this first one. Stop loss shouldn't be at current structure right there. That's just too tight. Always the least safe stop loss. But if you go to previous structure back here, 13 points, give yourself a little bit better of a chance below these pins back here. But you're right at New York view up, so it could be tough because you would want to see that hold and still be in it. But let's just say, for argument's sake, you go with the stop loss there. The other option would be down here to give it a little bit of room below that New York view up. But let's just say you go with that one, that previous structure, and you widen it, you're stopped out. But it's not a bad trade. It's off of a key level. And if we just erase this real quick to keep it clean, notice how well the buyers are defending this open range high level. Sellers cannot step in. We're still rising. This New York view up is starting to slope up. The 15-minute is clearly bullish. So you're definitely right on wanting to buy it. And where do we normally want to buy it? It's off of this level. So I think win or lose, you need to be in this trade and not be chasing the first break of the open range high, but also not chasing the highest price. Seeing a pullback, potentially giving yourself a better level for a stop loss. It just barely gets stopped out over here. But the same idea and the same price is what pays, right? If we buy it here on that break, this break, blah, blah, blah. This break over here, it's the same exact price. Just after a bigger pullback, now we go with the stop loss at previous structure. Now it's ready to go higher. Same level, same price, same structure. The timing of it was just maybe early and it wasn't ready to pop. But I think you definitely want to get back in because the idea isn't invalidated. You can see buyers defending this key level beautifully right off a New York view up and then a break of high day where you could argue this small little pullback isn't off of the New York view up, but it is off open range high. So I do think that's a valid trade. You would want to be in that, but I think this is the clean move on a break above high day view up saying, okay, we just retested our key level, but now buyers are back in. So now we're ready to go continue that bullish trend and you get a nice new pop for a new high a day. One note on this one, right? We went over the 15-minute. This is on ES. We can go over the other trades on this as well. All of this drifting higher, right? This small pullback, that small pullback. If you've seen these videos, hopefully you have it. If you haven't, go back and check all these other videos I have posted on this channel. I don't really want small pullbacks regardless, but even if they're, especially if they're not off a key level, because they often just don't know how far they want to pop higher. So I like to let that bigger pullback come in, sometimes just still not off a key level. But if we turn on the initial balance right here in red, you could see this retest that we have later on is off the initial balance high. So we still are trading off a key level and a bigger pullback, right? Because everyone that jumps in long here is going to have a stop loss at these structure points and going to get stopped out because you're buying it too high, not after a big enough pullback. So you don't want to be jumping in with the amateurs. Let them all get stopped out, and then you want to be buying it on a break of high day view up. So let's readjust this anchor to the true high day view up back here, and we want to be seeing the key level retest come in. No buyers stepping in here on the high day view up. They step in now. So now we get in with the stop loss at structure, and you catch a small little pop later on in the afternoon for a new high day. Trend continuation. Clearly, buyers are in control. The key level of initial balance, the key level of New York VWAP, and the key level of open range high. Those are the three levels that we're playing with. They all work out today, except for maybe this first one. But another note that I want to mention, which I noted early on in the video, this is on ES. Let's go to NQ. The same exact idea, but just on NQ. Same idea. Let's turn off the initial balance just to keep it clean. Here's our New York VWAP. We get the same choppiness at the open. Not really as bearish as ES, but we weren't really wanting the shorts anyway. So even more reason not to short this on ES or NQ because sellers are not in control. And same idea. I don't really want to be buying in mid-range, break above New York, but that does pop higher. Congratulations for anyone that took that. There's the break for a new high day, open range high, money to the long side. But if you notice, this is probably like the equivalent long idea that we just saw on ES. And you can see that pullback that we just saw on ES that made it maybe stopped you out. Not even close on NQ. Gave nothing but higher highs and higher lows and always respecting this open range high. And sometimes it's just the way it is, right? ES cleanly moved higher one day. Today, NQ cleanly moved higher and didn't stop anybody out. Whether you longed it anywhere in here, your stop loss would have been safe. But on ES, unfortunately, gave a little bit bigger of a pullback and stops you out, which is why I think seeing how well NQ is still holding up bullish, right? This is probably where you're getting stopped out on that ES idea. I think you would definitely want to get back in here on ES because you're seeing how well NQ is still holding up bullish. You don't want to throw away that long bias because you're saying, well, yeah, I know I was just stopped out, but we're holding New York on ES and NQ looks super bullish. So, yeah, I definitely still want to be a buyer. I definitely think this could still want to move up. Let me get back in and try it one more time. And if you're wrong twice in the longs, take a break, give up on the idea, or even call it a day. Don't dig yourself too big of a hole, but definitely don't be flip-flopping your bias when no new information has told you to flip it. And then the same idea, we could turn on the initial balance on this trade as well. It's probably going to look pretty similar, just not quite off it. But this is the pullback, break of high day. But really, just riding the trend, but a big, big lesson, whether we were short bias on the 15-minute or not, which we were not today, but it's the same idea. All of this within that range, leave it alone. Could it move lower? Could it move higher? It absolutely could. But if you're trying to time it, it's just a little bit tougher to say, I'm bullish on the 15-minute. Let me buy it. Well, you probably got stopped out here, and then it did go higher. So I don't really want to be playing with it in the opening range, especially that early on in the session. So if you could show some patience, wait for that trend to really set in and be clear, and then just play off of your key levels. We go over the same view ups all the time on this channel. So definitely keep an eye on them. Trade with these stats of the initial balance, as well as on these opening range high levels. And always keep in mind that 15-minute trend as well. That's always a big saver, like I was saying. Hopefully no one was bearish coming into the open. But if you're throwing the daily view up here, no way was it telling you to short it because all it was doing was just pulling back in the bullish trend, and it continued from pre-market Asia session, higher low in London, higher low in New York, and we end the day at a higher high. Don't forget that bullish trend, especially this is on a Friday. What had it been doing all week? Higher highs and higher lows. So I definitely want to be longing it more than just jumping into shorts 10 minutes into the open, right? Just because we have a little bit of chop, potentially lower highs on top here. Way too premature to jump into a short bias. So zoom out, slow down. Hope you guys made some money on these days. Always feel free to reach out if you have any questions. If you need an account with Top One, they're always running their best sales right now with code Evan. So check them out, and hopefully I'll see you guys on stream. And like I said, stay tuned for that footage from our Tampa 2-day boot camp. Absolute blast. Met many of you guys there. Absolute pleasure. But stay tuned for the next video, and good luck in the charts. And I'll see you on the desk tomorrow morning.